Greetings, this is POL242Locarno2013. My research topic is the opinions of minority groups and immigrants in Canada. The research question I will be answering in this study is why opinions on minority groups and immigrants in Canada differ. Using the CES 2011 study, I will attempt to answer this question. The tests I will be performing are the Reliability Index, Cross-Tabulation, ANOVA, chi-squared, and Kendo's TEL-B and TEL-C. The rationale for this study came from the article written by Inouye, who in 2012 examines the jobs occupied by temporary migrant workers in Canada. This work also examines the violence and isolation experienced by these workers. This led to the broader question of people's feelings on not only the work of temporary migrant laborers, but the opinions of Canadians on immigrants and minority groups living and working in Canada. The overall hypothesis of this study is the higher one's dependency on the Canadian economy, the weaker the view will be towards immigrants and minority groups. The first thing we did is combine four dependent variables, which were how do you feel on Aboriginal peoples, how do you feel about gay lesbians, how do you feel about racial minorities, and how do you feel about Muslims. With an alpha value of 0.8328 and the number of cases as 2,885, we can safely determine that these variables are measuring the same thing, and that this is an accurate representation of the population. Once we established the reliability, we recoded and weighted it into an index from low, moderate, and high opinions on opinions of immigrants and minorities. The relevant measures of association and of the center are the mean, the range, the mean, the median, and the standard deviation. The hypothesis and rationale for the independent variables are as follows. The first hypothesis is as Canadian views on government spending on immigrants and minority groups decreases, the opinions of these groups increases. This rationale was derived from Gregory, who in 1994 argued the views of government spending. He tied these views to economic success. The second hypothesis is as Canadian views on the admittance of immigrants to the country increases, their opinions of these groups decrease. This rationale is based off of the work done by Daniel Stockman, who in 2003 argues that the high impact of immigration decreases overall wages in Canada. This poses an economic threat to Canadians. The third and final hypothesis is as Canadian views on immigrants and minority groups taking jobs in Canada increases, the opinions of these minority groups decreases. This rationale was taken from Perry's work in 2012 on immigrant workers and minority groups in Canada. He argues that these groups are taking the undesired but available work from Canadian citizens. When we cross-tabulated the first independent variable, which was government spending on immigrants and minorities, we found that the tau-C value gave a value of 0.24063. This, with a chi-square of 0.00000, meant that it was not due to chance, and therefore we can accept the relationship as acceptable. But this alone is not a viable explanation on its own. But it does confirm the hypothesis. The second cross-tabulation was should Canada admit more immigrants? With a tau-B value of 0.20394 and a chi-square value of 0.00000, we can establish that, again, it was not due to chance. However, this value is only acceptable and, again, not viable as an explanation on its own, but it does confirm a hypothesis. Slide 9 cross-tabulated the index with the opinions of immigrants that are taking Canadians' jobs with a tau-B value of negative 2.7964 and a chi-square of 0.00000. This is a moderately strong negative relationship, and it can be used to confirming an overall hypothesis. However, again, it's not significant on its own. The summary of this presentation is that by themselves, the strength of these three variables is not significant to confirm the overall hypothesis, as they range from acceptable to desirable. However, combined, these three hypotheses suggest that Canadians oppose immigrants and visual minorities due to economic reasons. This confirms the overall hypothesis of the study. Further conclusions show that in order to further prove this hypothesis, additional research is necessary to determine if there's a correlation between Canadian citizens' opinions of the fluctuations of the economy in accordance with economic values. Additional research is also required in finding the correlation between opinions and race as an ethnic concern. Thank you.